like country, hyphen something like salary, ls deep hyphen salary. And there is one more field, something like phone, from deep structure work area. We are trying to extract phone number. So the point here is ls deep contains both header plus its items. As of now, we have extracted header record values and we are trying to put it into one local work area, that is work area user header. Now ls deep not only contains header record, it also internally contains collection of items. So you need to extract its corresponding items from this ls deep work area structure. So what you need to do, you can use loop at something like ls deep hyphen navigation property on user ID. Navigation property on user ID, on expansion of this, you can get its collection of items. So you have to use np on user ID. np on user ID into something like ls user items. And you can put end loop here. And within this, you can append ls user items to lt user items. Sorry, it user items. It user items is an internal table for accommodating items. Now what we are trying to do, in this case, we are extracting header record from deep structure, and in this case we are extracting collection of items from the same deep structure. So first extract header record, then extract items. But both we are extracting ultimately from ls deep, and ls deep contains header plus items which comes from the front end app. Now what you can do, you can use your insert statement. Insert into our first table z user info table, and values are part of work area user header. And if this is successful, if this operation is successful, then you can use another insert statement. Insert into something like second table z user details. You can use z user details from table something like it user items. So when you are inserting multiple records, you need not use into. Insert into database table name from table it user item. So here we are trying to insert header record, and in the last line we are trying to insert item records. That's it. In this case, we are inserting header record into first table. In second case, we are inserting collection of items into second table. First table is z user info, second table is z user details. So we are trying to insert header first and collection of items next. But both header plus its items we have extracted from our ls deep structure format. So let me just provide some diagram to make you understand the overall scenario. So this is a code which we are trying to use it inside create deep entity method. You can save and activate. But I want to explain more about this. Let me accommodate all the statements. Okay. So what we're trying to do in this case is we're trying to declare one structure with a div format. So what happens when you do like this? It will create a structure something like this. User ID, first name, last name, etc., etc., country, and not only that, it will also create a structure with internal table format internally. So you can have user ID, product ID, product name, product price. So you will get this type of format here. Header record plus its item related fields. Header record fields along with item data related fields. For that we have taken that particular deep structure. So here we are declaring work area to represent and simulate the above structure. This is work area to resemble or simulate deep structure format. So that's a work area to simulate deep structure format. And here we are trying to use work area for header, internal table for items. Work area for header record, and we are using internal table for item records. Work area for header record, internal table for item records. Why? Because we expect single header in this case with collection of items. So for header record, work area, for item records, internal table. And we are using this just for managing the code internally to extract each and every item. This is work area for item record. We are going to use this locally to manage and extract each item record. Now this is the most important line in this particular coding. IO data provider read entry data importing ES data into LS deep. So this is the actual coding part which you need to focus. So this is going to capture input header record plus its item records from front-end application It can be UEFI or Fiori. It is to capture input header record plus its item records from front-end app, UEFI or Fiori. So this is the main thing that you need to remember. LS deep finally contains header plus its items, whichever is coming from front-end. Now what we are trying to do, we are trying to extract one by one. First header, then we are extracting items. So this code, what we are trying to do is, we are trying to extract header record from deep structure work area. We are trying to extract header record from deep structure work area with respect to all the header fields. And in this case, we are trying to extract and append our items to internal table. So this is to extract item records from deep structure work area. We are trying to extract item records from deep structure work area. So here we are able to get header record. Here we are able to get item records both from deep structure, that is LS deep. Okay, don't forget that. Now finally, what we are trying to do, we are trying to insert the data here into first table for inserting header record. Insert header record into first table, that is Z user info table. And the last statement in this case is insert item records. Insert item records in this case. It can be one or many items. So whichever is under red color box, they are very important. That is the area which you need to focus. When you are using create deep entity method to insert header and multiple items. Let me save this. Okay, so, let me just highlight this one last point here. So the front end has to pass the input in this manner. Okay, don't forget this. User ID, first name, last name, email ID. In this case, one more field, country, salary, etc. Along with that, there is navigation property on user ID, and that is going to accommodate items with common field user ID, then product ID, product name, and something like product price. So this is header fields. On expanding of navigation property, you can also get item related fields. So this is how the deep structure format looks like.